Congress will now resume its session, which went into a split session this morning. So we're now on the order of the day. Item 14, standing committee reports. Chief Clerk. Chief Clerk, standing committee reports. Conference is back in session. We're on the item 14, standing committee reports. Do we have any reports, Chief Clerk?
Mr. Speaker, there are no reports.
Okay, next item, item 15, special committee reports. Vice Speaker Moses.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning to you, members, and all those who are observing. Mr. Speaker, I have an oral report to make,
Proceed.
if I may. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And your committee to wait on the President met at 12 o'clock noon today. And we informed the President that Congress is now in session and ready to transact business. And after we informed the President, he presented us with an agenda of items to discuss so that the committee may relay the information to Congress. And the first item on the agenda was the revenue projection. The revenue projection increased from the last session. It increased up to availability of funds of 9.6 million. And with that, there was also discussion about the presidential veto of the bill that appropriated 14 million for priority infrastructure projects. And it was relayed to him during the last hearing that the Committee on Ways and Means had, that there were about 4 possibilities to correct or address the issue of that veto, as it was a substantial amount. And the first option was for Congress to just let the veto stand. Second option was to amend a certain law that earmarked funds to the FSM Sovereign Trust Fund, so that the funds may be made available for that particular appropriation. The third option was to reduce the amount of the appropriation to fall within the revenue projection. And the fourth option was for finance to identify funds that have been appropriated through Section 9 of the annual budget since 2014, which total about 20 million, as for their preliminary analysis on those said items, and also 15 million unallotted also in the public project appropriation since 2014, which gives us a figure in the amount of 35 million unallotted. And so the president relayed that the preference or what he prefers and hopes that Congress will do, although he was recognizing that it's the prerogative of Congress to make that decision, is that we reduce the amount of the appropriation so that it falls within the revenue projection. So that was the first item that was discussed. The second was the national elections. He is proposing, or the executive branch is proposing some changes to the laws because of the difficulty that the pandemic has caused within the affected areas such as Guam and Hawaii, which we have ballot boxes, and there will probably be some difficulty in holding or opening the ballot boxes in those two areas as they have strict quarantine measures that they have to abide by. And so we might be, the request, I believe, is to suspend those two ballot boxes, the one in Guam and Hawaii, this year, for this year's election. And so he's proposing a legislation. I don't know if it's been transmitted yet, but it was there on the table as he was signing the presidential communication. The third item was the field trip ships that Chairman Urusmal alluded to after our session yesterday, and he assured us that the crew members and those on board the ships are being taken care of and also appropriately funded so that they may, while they're there, one in Japan and one in the Philippines, be accommodated comfortably, including the child from Pulawat that was found near the Philippines and is now on board the Chief Milo. And they are working toward having those vessels re-enter the FSM, and they're awaiting clearance from the state of Pohnpei for the Voyager and state of Chuuk for the Chief Milo, or whichever one state will accept those two vessels. The fourth item is the CIA planes, one which was damaged in Mokil in the past week or two, and they had a meeting after the committee to wait, and we have not received any reports, but the pilot is supposed to report to the board and appropriate staff of the executive branch on the status of that event that happened on the island of Mokil. And the other one is that we have received the pilot from Kiribati as they picked him up on the high seas and brought him to Pohnpei so that he may travel to Chuuk and operate the Y-12 that hasn't been in operations for about a couple of months. So that's the update on the CIA. And the other one is the repatriation of FSM citizens from the Marshall Islands. So far, we have about 22 that are ready to be repatriated. One is from Koshai and the rest are from Pohnpei. And they're hoping that if all is clear, that will happen this Friday. And the Air Marshall Islands is doing maintenance on their airplane, and they should have it up and running before Friday so that our citizens may be repatriated. The other one is there are two pending nominations, one for the FSM Trust Board nomination that has been submitted, and the other one is the FSM Telecom Board, which is also pending. The seventh item is that the President is seeking or asking Congress's assistance in reinstating the COM Endowment Fund funding that is normally annually appropriated through our budget, and it seems to have been omitted from this year's budget. And the other one is, I believe, $30,000 for FSM's membership into Interpol. And Mr. Speaker, on that matter of the Section 9 and the public projects, I asked him, because there was communication that Congress formally requested the information, and it was noted at my on the committee's request to have the committee to wait on the President's meeting be a formal request of that information, so that it may be clear that that request was a formal request for the Section 9 and the public project updates. So, Mr. Speaker, that's a summary, oral summary of our meeting with the President, and I would like to move that the oral report be adopted.
Second.
Okay, that's been moved and seconded that the oral report presented by the committee to wait on the President be adopted. Discussion on the report. Any discussion? Chairman Rushimot. Chairman Rushimot, we cannot hear you. Short recess subject to call of the chair. Discussion.
No, it's okay. It's
Congress is back in session. We're discussing the oral report.
Speaker.
Yes,
Mr. Speaker,
Chairman Kulan.
thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. On the oral report, what was mentioned about the suspension of the special polling places in Honolulu and Guam. What's that supposed to mean?
Well, Vice Speaker Moses, what does it mean by suspension of
It's being proposed that we do not have polling places in Guam and Hawaii, Honolulu this year, or this election year.
So, Mr. Speaker, I just need to understand if we suspend the special polling places, what about the voting by mail?
Okay, voting by mail. If the how will that be done? Everybody will vote by mail?
That's the, Mr. Speaker, if I may, that is the idea, is that once the legislation is passed, they're going to do a campaign supposedly to have everybody request ballots online, which will be starting on Monday and closing in January for the request of absentee ballots.
So, Mr. Speaker,
Continue.
yes, how do we treat the others that they already done their requests on the special polling places?
Oh, you mean the request to vote at the,
We already received this, the request from the, based on the special polling places in Honolulu and Guam. How do we treat them? Are they gonna redo, or are we just gonna do some kind of, what?
The request
okay, short recess subject to call of the chair. Okay, so let's go back. Congress is back in session. We're still discussing the oral report. But
Question call for, Speaker.
questions been called for. If there's no objection, discussion is closed. So let's vote. Those in favor of adoption of the oral report by the committee to wait on the president, say aye. Motion carried.
Aye.
Oral report is adopted by Congress. Next report, Chief Clerk.
There are none, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, let's go down to our next item is assignment of measures and communications, Chief Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, we have a referral sheet number 21-110.
Okay, Chairman and members, review that for your planning purposes. Next item.
Item 17, unfinished business, none, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, short recess, subject to call of the chair. Congress is back in session. If there's no objection from members, we will skip item 18 and move on to item 19. That's the resolution calendar. Chairman Figueroa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to place Congressional Resolution number 21-211 on the resolution calendar for action.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that resolution number 21-211 be placed on the resolution calendar for action. Acting floor, Ursimo, you have any rules to suspend?
Mr. Speaker, so to play it safe, I move that any relevant rules that may impede our action on this report be suspended. And I
Okay.
second.
Any second? That's been moved and seconded that all relevant rules that may impede our action on the motion be suspended. So those in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. The relevant rules are now suspended at this point. Now let's vote on the motion to place. Those in favor of it, to place 21-211 on the resolution calendar for action, say aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. So resolution number 21-211 has been placed on the resolution calendar for action. First resolution, Chief Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, we have functional resolution number 21-211 for adoption. This is a resolution setting the ceiling of the total funds estimated to be available for appropriation from the general fund of the Federated States of Micronesia for the fiscal year ending September 30, 2021.
Okay.
Speaker, I move for the adoption of the resolution.
Okay, any second?
Second.
Has been moved and seconded that Congress
Mr. Speaker.
21-211. Yes, short recess, subject to call of the chair. Congress is back in session. We're still discussing resolution number 21-211. Any further discussion on our revenue protection? If none, there's no objection. Discussion is closed, so let's vote. Those in favor of adoption of resolution number 21-211, say aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Resolution number 21-211 is adopted by Congress. Next resolution, Chief Clerk.
None, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, so let's go back to item 18. If there's no objection to that, that's the calendar. Okay. Chief Clerk, first bill. Road wishes, subject to call of the chair. For now,
Three one five.
Assistance to
let's go back to the appeal calendar. We're now back in session. We're on the appeal calendar.
Speaker.
Appeal, Chief Burke.
Yeah, you were asking for the Vietnam assistance, is the number 326.
Okay, can you include that, Chairman Berman? Chairman Berman, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I would like to make a motion to withdraw the following bills: 21-315 and 21-325. So move.
Okay,
And, sorry, and then 21-326. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Second.
that's been moved the following bills, 21-315, 21-325, and 21-326 be withdrawn from committees and placed on the bill calendar for first reading action. The relevant rules are still suspended to this point. So let's vote. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Opposed, nay.
Aye.
Motion carried. Those bills 315, 325, and 326 are withdrawn from committees and placed on the bill calendar for first reading action. First bill, Chief Burke, can we have them link? Short recess subject
Yeah,
to call.
this guy is working on it.
Congress is back in session. We're still on the bill calendar. First bill, Chief Burke.
Mr. Speaker, the first bill is CB number 21-315 for first reading. CB number 21-315 is a bill for an act to further amend Section 1222 of Title 55 of the Federal States of Micronesia, or Code of the Federal States of Micronesia as annotated, as amended by Public Law Number 21-105, to divert temporarily from the date this bill is signed into law the remaining funds not yet deposited in the FSM Trust Fund during the fiscal year ending on September 30, 2021, from the 20% of revenue derived from fishing access fees to the general fund of the Federated States of Micronesia instead of the FSM Trust Fund, and for other purposes.
Chairman Figueroa.
Move for the adoption of the bill or passage of the bill.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Congress passed on first reading CP number 21-315. Discussion. Any discussion?
Speaker,
Yes, Chairman Roosevelt.
yeah, just so I understand, this bill, it says in the title, to divert temporarily from the date this bill is signed into law, the remaining so-and-so FY 2021. So if this thing passed, second and final reading, after the money has already been deposited into the trust fund, what would be the effect of this?
Well, yes, if there are, let's say, 1 million was already deposited before this act become law, that one we don't touch, that 1 million which was already deposited. This one is just saying from moving forward from the time it becomes law, whatever has not been deposited in FY21, that's the one that will be available.
So
Okay.
it will be what, only the funds, only the money available
Yes.
after the signing of. I see.
Okay, any further discussion? If none, there's no objection.
Short recess, Mr. Speaker.
Short recess, subject to call of the chair. Congress is back in session. We're still discussing CB 21-315. Any further discussion? If none, there's no objection. Discussion is closed. So let's vote by roll call of members. First reading, Chief Clerk.
Senator Aritos,
Yes.
Senator Christian, Senator Figuer, Senator Figuer, Senator Coolant,
Walang tito pare.
yes. Okay, Floor Leader Harper, Senator Conman,
Yes.
wala. Oh. Vice Speaker Moses. Vice Speaker. Senator Ned. Senator Palik.
Oh,
What's his phone? Senator Perman. Senator Romulo.
Hey, man.
Senator Usmal.
So, Chief.
Why Chikijik?
Well, I say so.
Senator,
Yes.
point of,
Speaker Similar.
point of order, please. Mr. Speaker,
To appoint Senator Christian.
was Senator Rusmal Soso in English or Soso in Pohnpeian?
I rule it's in English.
I think it's in Philippines.
Speaker
I
Similar.
approve in English.
Mr. Speaker, 9 members voted for.
For that reason, CP number 21-315 does not pass Congress on first reading. Next bill.
Mr. Speaker, the next bill is CB number 21-325 for first reading. This is a bill to appropriate the sum of $7 million from the general fund of the Federal States of Micronesia for the fiscal year ending September 30, 2021, for the purpose of funding priority infrastructure projects and other public projects and social programs for the people of Yap, Kushai, Pohnpei, and Chuk states, and for other purposes.
Okay, Chairman Figuer.
Thank you, Speaker. I move for the passage of the bill on first reading.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that Congress pass on first reading CP number 21-325. Discussion? Any discussion? If none, there's no objection. Discussion is closed. So let's vote by roll call of members on first reading. Chief Clerk?
Senator Aritos,
Yes.
Senator Christian, Senator Figuer,
Yes.
Senator Coolant,
Yes.
Floor Leader Harper, Senator Conman,
Yes.
Vice Speaker Moses, Senator Ned, Senator Palik,
Yes.
Senator Perman, Senator Romulo,
Aye.
Senator Ismail, Senator Wally,
Yes.
Speaker Simina,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, 12 members voted in favor.
For that reason, CP number 21-325 has passed Congress on first reading. Next bill.
Mr. Speaker, we have CP number 21-326 for first reading. This is a bill for an act to appropriate the sum of $100,000 from the general fund of the Federated States of Micronesia for the fiscal year ending September 30, 2021, for the purpose of funding relief efforts in Vietnam due to the recent floods and for other purposes.
Chairman Figueroa.
Move for the passage of the bill on first reading.
Okay, any second? It has been moved and seconded that Congress pass on first reading CP number 21-326. Discussion. Any discussion? If none,
Oh, okay.
yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Chairman Figueroa.
That's okay. I'll yield. Thank you very much, Speaker.
Okay, so if there is no objection, debate is closed. Let's vote by roll call of members. First reading, Chief Clerk.
Senator Aritos,
Yes.
Senator Christian, Senator Figueroa, Senator Coolant, Floor Leader Harper, Senator Conman,
Aye.
Vice Speaker Moses, Senator Ned, Senator Pollack,
Yes.
Senator Perman, Senator Romulo,
Aye.
Senator Ismail, Yes. Senator Wally,
Yes.
Speaker Simina,
Yes.
Okay.
Chief Clerk, how did you record my vote?
It's recorded as a yes, Chairman.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Chairman Wally, you're in. Did you cast your vote?
Yes.
Speaker Simina. Mr.
Yes,
Speaker,
we
12 members voted for.
CP number 21-326 passed Congress on first reading. Next bill.
Speaker. Speaker.
Yes,
Mr.
Chairman.
Speaker, can I make a correction? Can I make a correction, Mrs.
Okay, I yield floor to Chief.
Okay,
Sorry.
make your question, Chief Clerk.
Colin was not there, so we're down to 11 members voted in favor.
Yeah, what happened to them? Okay, so for that reason, CP number 21-326 has passed Congress on first reading. Okay, next bill. Chairman Perman.
Speaker.
Chairman Perman, you have the floor.
There are none.
Yes, Speaker. Motion to stand in recess till 10 a.m. Speaker time.
Second.
been moved and seconded that Congress stand in recess until tomorrow at 10 in the morning, Chuk time, 11 Pohnpei time. Okay? Those in favor of that motion say yes. Opposed, no.
Yes.
Motion carried. Congress now stands in recess until tomorrow at 10 in the morning, Chuk time.